you tell me something that's not true, and then, I like I said, I seem to really sort of relate to a lot of people, like yourself, Patricia, because in a lot of ways, even though we can't prove that any of this is true, I mean, all I can say is that your story resonates with me, and it seems like it, and we've not talked about these different things in depth. So, I mean, we've all got very similar stories in the way that comes down, and your experiences and the experiences of people that I've talked to, and if you talk to enough people, a lot of these main threads seem to weave through a lot of people's stories. So I think that's great. But
it's nice. It's nice when we can know each other through our hearts. We speak the language of the heart, and so our stories, if they're different, we can still accept them, and we don't feel on edge or feel like separated. It's the heart that makes us feel that oneness.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? There's so much friction not everywhere, between people and communities, nations, city councils. There's so much friction. We have to start hearing each other and speaking to each other from the heart. And that's the sacred feminine, and that's our angelic nature, our higher nature, love. It's what the higher intelligent aliens are saying. There are some lower level aliens that are up to no good. There's that whole dark force that we are trying to, I feel, we need to balance out and just say, no, that's not okay. You've had your way for too long.
Right. So do you feel like... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was
just going to say...
No.
Go ahead, Kevin. You got it.
Okay. Well, no, ladies first. You finish your thought up, and then I'll ask you a question.
I was just going to make a proclamation for the light. The light is here. That's my platform.
Right. Well, the thing that so I'm going to ask you a question then, based on what kind of sparked me off the question is, so are you of the impression, and it's your feeling that aliens live among us already? It's not something that they're just visiting. Is it?
I do think they live among us. Oh yeah, I think there are a lot of different races and what was different strands? The word strands comes in. I don't know why that's coming in. Just different things going on. That's so much why we need to focus on light. There's just so many unknowns. We need to have that support and circle around, and we can embrace these lower entities, the dark ones. We can embrace them with light. There are many different kinds of species here.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people really talk about that. And is that something you guys in your group discuss? If somebody feels like that they are dealing with sort of an alien hybrid type scenario, is that something you guys are able to talk to people about too, or is that something that ever comes up?
Our Wednesday night meetings are getting more and more open in that direction. We're getting more metaphysical on Wednesday nights. It's really quite astonishing to me. So people can bring anything up, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, I did notice that you guys were really, really, welcoming to all different types of people's opinions and things like that, and not necessarily, I think, is that always true of different groups. And so it was a very nice opportunity to speak with you guys, and I like I said, it's an interesting concept for me just to kind of wrap my head around. This is something that it's not something that I really thought of in this scenario, because it's it's something that's been around for a long time, and you still imagine that, and I think a lot of people who are not UFO people, not ufologists, honestly believe that, well, one day they might show up on a spaceship and get out, and then you talk to a lot of different people, and it's like, no, well, no, they've been here for 40 years, or they've been here for 3,000 years, and these people were, genetically engineering us to, perform certain tasks and have certain abilities or not have certain abilities and things like that. So, it's just an interesting thing to look at history from that standpoint, to say, hey, well, what is it that maybe we have not understood? I mean, I think it's really interesting to me, from a lot of standpoints, to say, we really don't know about history of 200 years ago, even. I would say we don't even really know that much about the history of 150 years ago. I mean, we've gotten what we've gotten written by a very, very few people, and with a lot of different things filtered out, which will be interesting for historians of now to look at, because everybody can share their stories. And I think that's interesting that you guys take such a big point in documenting people's stories, whereas that, back in the days, it would have just been like, okay, well, yeah, okay, that's just, we're just not even going to talk about that. It definitely wouldn't have been published, and it definitely wouldn't have been put into a book.
What's coming in for me right now is all the alien spacecraft are feeling like they're being acknowledged and recognized through the stories.
Yeah.
So we are really I use that word a lot, honoring. It's just a natural word for me. We're really honoring our cosmic family when we tell our stories. It's not about us only. It's about our cosmic family.
Right. And I think that's completely true, because whether people take our stories in the future seriously or not, and whether they believe it or not, it does become the folklore of tomorrow. And this is one of those things that, as a person who studied folklore their whole life, and
really,
yeah, and
wow,
yeah, whenever I was a teacher, I did my thesis on cross cultural teaching through folklore. So I've tell me a story about something. Ask me a story about a culture, and I'll tell you how that's similar to some other culture. But that's what's interesting, is it? So, and that's what actually kind of makes me interested, really, in UFO stories and Bigfoot stories and everything like that. Because oftentimes, if you ever see me at the meeting, somebody will sell a story, and I'll get a smile on my face, and it's just like,
wow,
because I'm thinking to myself, well, that reminds me of the story that guy told, and this point in time here. I mean, it's like the precursors are there, and we all react to them in a different way, and we're all experiencing the same thing over and over again. It's just that it was written down, and nobody believed that person, or it became a story in folklore, or it became an allegorical story, and so. But then people experience it, and they keep experiencing it. Well, if you've experienced these things over thousands of years, there's a couple things going on. One is that we're all completely delusional and we don't know what's going on, or this actually is reality. We actually are experiencing these things, and so I mean, it can't be that we go through all these things for no reason.
And what what about the stories, the petroglyphs and the geoglyphs and all that language? That's a whole another level, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. This is it. I mean, this is it. And a lot of times people would use these different stories, these different things as a way to enter into that altered consciousness. Because if you use vibration in petroglyphs and things like that, it does create these different.
Now, Ireland has its own, what would you say, language?
Oh, well.
In all the what are they called there? Petroglyphs? Is that what all those symbols are called?
Well, they are petroglyphs in the fact that, they in that sense. And, in Ireland and Scotland and things like that, you see these different locations and maps, and you can actually look at those as I'll bring this to show you on Wednesday. There was a rock that was found about I think 50 years ago, and then they covered it up, and then they finally just uncovered it all. But it looks like a big star map. I mean, it really looks like a map to the stars. It's all chiseled in this Neolithic rock, and I'll show it to you because it's really interesting whenever I see you next time.
Okay. One question before I know we got to go soon. Do you have a lot of stories about dragons?
I do have some, and I'll be happy to share those with you. And we can go from there. Some of them, they'll take too long for me to go into today, Tish the Mystic. But I will tell you, and if I know Michael, if Michael's there and I'm there and you're there, he'll probably be putting it on the internet.
Good.
So,
let's do a dragon story.
Well, this is the thing, and maybe I can come back and be Michael's guest on his show, because I think he's going to have a show now, so on our network.
Yeah.
So that'll be.
Would you, excuse me for interrupting, would you like to do a Sufan presentation one Sunday, 1 month?
Oh, that would be great. I'd love to do that. I would.
Okay, talk. We can talk more about that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you go now, and I'll just do the finishing up of the show. And I thank you so much for being a guest on the show tonight.
Thanks, Kevin.
Okay.
It was fun.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And everybody, that was Tish the Mystic from the UFOI team. And thank you for spending another night with us tonight. It's Sunday. And again, weekends on Night Dreams Talk Radio with Kevin is going to be Saturday and Sundays, 8 to 10. But we're always looking for other people to come on to the show. And I think if I heard it right, Michael's going to have a little show here. And so that's awesome. I mean, this place is growing so fast. I want you to go ahead and mark on your bookmark www.nightdreamstalkradio.com and like the Night Dreams Talk Radio fan and chat page, because the more people that we bring onto the network, the more central locations we're going to have so that you can ask questions and find out about shows and things like that, because going across 3 different platforms, it's going to be very interesting. So go ahead and find me on Facebook. My name is Kevin Ian Beagle. Last name is spelled Beegle. I'm a part of the Night Dreams family. So you can go to the Night Dreams Talk Radio family and you can click on there. And I want to thank Gary again. Gary does weekdays, Monday through Friday. And again, listen to his shows starting at 8. I'm going to be here every weekend now, Saturday and Sunday, from 8 to 10. And thank you again for listening to the show, and I hope you have a great week.